realized what my weapons were capable of in the wrong hands, I shut it down, stopped manufacturing.
Tony, you chose to do that. If we sign this, we surrender our right to choose. What if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't let us? We may not be perfect, but the safest hands are still our own.
If we don't.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time to roast some comics. Now, I'm going to be honest, Pele, this isn't anything as bad as Spider-Man 4 or even Action Comics 1025 from last week. And it's probably not even the worst comic of this week, if I'm being completely honest. It's actually Legion of Superheroes, also by Brian Michael Bendis. But this isn't This Week in Terrible Bendis. It's this worst of the week. I don't want to cover only Bendis comics. Although we could do that. If the viewers want that, let me know in the comment section. Do you want Pele and I to review every single Bendis comic? Because, if that's what you want, we will do it. But I thought today we would change it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about Avengers number 36. This is part 4 of the Age of Khonshu, kind of leading into the newest Dark Phoenix saga that they're trying to recreate. And I do want to give a disclaimer. If you do not like salty language, if you don't like sarcasm, if you don't like two good friends who enjoy comics taking a go at this one and making fun of it, this probably isn't the video for you. We produce plenty of content that isn't like this, and just move on to the next video. You'll probably enjoy that one more. But if you do like that, definitely stick around, because the curmudgeon of Critical is here with us today, folks, and we're going to roast Avengers 36. How you doing, Pele?
Oh, good. I'm doing all right. I had a pretty busy weekend and thought I was coming down with something, but just needed to get out and get out in the car and drive around, kind of like POTUS, just go out and meet some people and say, the hell, damn the torpedoes, and just go out and do it. So I feel better after getting some fresh air. And let's see what the hell you've got going on here. This is man.
Jason Aaron's Avengers run. I liked the beginning of it, and I was like, oh, cool. An actual good Avengers comic. This is right in my wheelhouse. I was enjoying it. And then it kind of got stale. And then it went into the War of the Realms event. And it was some of the worst comics I've ever read. So I dropped the series, but every once in a while I come back. Like I came back for the part of the Star Brand birth when I said the baby was blowing planets up. That was really strange. And I've come back to see Moon Knight in Avengers. I'm curious. Obviously, we got the Dark Phoenix coming up soon. What a convoluted mess this thing is, Pele. It's hard to describe, but I believe Jason Aaron is trying to hide all the deficiencies in this comic book with about 20 pages of pointless action.
Yeah, I don't get all of what's going on with this book. Maybe I just came in at a bad time or something. I was trying to follow the storyline of what's going on, and it is a mess. It's impossible to pick up this book just cold, not having read anything else, and understand a damn thing that's going on here. It is a complete and absolute mess. Clusterfuck, we used to call it.
Absolutely. And if you like Moon Knight, I think this comic will throw you for an even bigger fucking loop. Now, I do think from the inner monologue in parts, it feels like Jason Aaron has a feel for the character. But for some reason, I guess he ran out of the Krees. He didn't have Skrulls. He didn't have Celestials to work with. Galactus is getting beat up. He didn't have any Avengers level threats. So he just decided to pull one out of his ass and make fucking Moon Knight like Thanos or something. And he's endowed with the power. He's been taken over by an Egyptian moon god called Khonshu. Yeah. It doesn't he couldn't find a better character than Moon Knight to do this.
It doesn't make any sense either. Because at
this point, Moon Knight has beaten the piss out of Thor, taken his hand. He's fucked up Ghost Rider and taken his car, and he apparently outsorcered the Sorcerer Supreme and took his magic. So which is eerily similar to what they were doing in Captain Marvel during who's doing that run? Kelly Thompson, I think.
Yeah,
it feels like he lifted this straight out of there, even though that was only in there a few months ago. I'm like, well, we're redoing the same storyline, but now with Moon Knight. It is weird. Like, how is he beating the fuck out of all these other heroes? And then he's fighting Black Panther, but they're jumping through eras while they're doing it. And it may, like you said, if a new comic reader came in and opened this comic book and it was their first one, they would rip it in half, take a piss on it, and move on with their lives and never revisit comics again. It is such an enormous clusterfuck.
It doesn't make any sense. Even the conversation while they're going through all this, Moon Knight's getting the absolute shit kicked out of him, but he's carrying on this dialogue during the whole thing, and it doesn't really. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to fit entirely with the action that's going on the screen. I mean, going on the page. It just seems it doesn't fit. And like you were talking about, the jumping through time, the moving from the shifting from one time, one period in time to another, and it's all over the place. And
there's like 3 versions of Moon Knight. There's one of him with like a fucking vulture skull. There's 3 versions of Black Panther. You see the one, I believe that one's like the Avengers AD or BC or whatever the hell it's called that they never should have done. It's been a huge waste of time. Like, there's another one where he's like in a cloak and he seems like he's a philosopher or something. And it's just really weird. And this middle picture here where we got Black Panther and he's holding Mjolnir. Like Moon Knight throws Mjolnir at him, but apparently because Mjolnir and Black Panther are buddies, like it won't hit him.
Where did that come from?
Is that canon? Like, it feels like something else Jason Aaron pulled right out of his keister.
Oh, they're saying that Black Panther is worthy. He's always been worthy, and he can just make the hammer do anything he wants. And this doesn't fit at all with what we know about how the hammer works. So it's just stupid and silly, and it doesn't make any sense. So
he tries to make it cooler by like all the moves have names. Like you're in a video game and you're like, oh, I want to do hippo fist. That's up, down, A, B, select. So it's like, we've got flying leopard, claw kick, black mamba spine kick, hippo fist, the fist of Khonshu, the rage of many wildebeests. It's Jason Aaron trying way too hard to make this cool. I think he probably knew in his heart of hearts, in his mind, when he was writing, he's like, all right, this isn't working. I need to do something.
This is stupid and doesn't make sense. So,
and it made it actually dumber, in my opinion. It's like, this is one page would have been enough, or maybe a big move in then identifying it. Like he was breaking his leg or something. But it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of like a video game. It's pretty stupid.
That's kind of the way that comics have gone lately too. I mean, they're trying to put video game action in comics instead of rather letting them flow and let the action, be comic book action. People. I mean, we've known what comic book action looks like, and there's some artists that we talked about it in the aficionados. Was it last week? We talked about who does action the best in comics, and this is not it. This is.
I think the action
absolutely
itself, if there wasn't any dialogue, would be pretty okay. If it wasn't for the costume changes, everything like.
I think
not
the
the worst
pacing
I've
is
ever
wrong.
seen.
I think the pacing
all
is wrong, but
the
that's just
pacing
me.
is really strange. Like it's like 20 pages of just them like going at it, so he can say this big ass long prayer. And at the same time, apparently the Star Brand is in this. Moon Knight, under the power of the Egyptian god Khonshu, moon god Khonshu. Apparently they kind of get separated at some point. It turns out that Khonshu is looking for Star Brand, and so we've got Tony out in space with Captain Marvel. She's got the Star Brand baby, which we saw get birthed out of a flaming vagina through planets. And there's some of the weirdest dialogue here. It feels like they're supposed to be protecting the baby. And this is what Carol had to say. Tony, when this is over, you and I are going to have a serious conversation about whatever the hell happened to you in the Stone Age. And by serious, I mean I will beat it out of you if I have to.
Yeah.
What?
She's just power tripping. You know, it's just, this is ridiculous. You know, it's just, I guess that she's an abuser, and she's, you know, just telling him, you know, that she's going to, you know, beat the truth out of him or whatever. What I can't get over is this goofy look on the baby's face on the bottom panel. You know, what in the hell? You know, it's,
Oh yeah, that's a bad piece of art.
that
a
is
mistake.
really rough. And, you know, and he's just, and the baby's just all excited. They're flying through space, and, you know, look at that, you know, and it's just, we don't have heroes anymore in comics, do we?
No.
We just don't have heroes. We have people who manipulate others. We have abusers, and we have egotistical, narcissistic maniacs. And there are no, there's no in between. And there is no one out that I can think of at Marvel Comics right now who is just heroic and does heroic things because he is genuinely concerned and cares about people, and he wants to be a hero. It's just, it's always this crap that
Well, kind of Daredevil, maybe.
Maybe, but he gets bullied by everybody else, you know, and he gets the crap beat out of him for his ideals, you know. So I guess they're trying. It almost seems to me that they're trying to tell people that you don't want to be a hero. You just want to do what's right according to what we believe.
You certainly don't want to be a Marvel hero.
No,
most likely just be an asshole.
Yeah,
and you're threatening to beat up like your partner as you're trying to save a baby from a god possessed Moon Knight that wants to kill him, and you're going to be having stupid squabbles about some stupid thing in the Stone Age.
Yeah, Marvel heroes just aren't heroes anymore, and I think it all comes down to the fact that the writers in today's comics don't know how to write heroes.
Not the characters.
They don't know how to write. Yeah, of course. But the thing is, they don't know how to write heroes because there's nothing heroic in them.
Mm-hmm. But so this is nothing like Bendis as far as dialogue, but I have to read this part here. So up in the top left, I guess Carol's trying to hold on to the Star Brand baby.
Oh God!
And she goes, "Oh, don't know what's happening. I can't steer this baby." And when I read that line of dialogue, I'm thinking, who in their right mind would ever let this woman near a child? She thinks she has to steer the baby.
Yeah.
You don't steer a baby. You hold a baby. What are you? Was he a fucking reindeer?
She's trying to. I've got to control it, or it's going to destroy these planets. Oh my God! You know, it's just. You know, if I don't control the baby, it's going to go crazy and kill everything. You know, it's like,
could have used a better word than steer.
Yeah, steering. It's like, what is it, a car?
Dirt bike.
Yeah, dirt bike. Oh, that's a dirt bike. It's not a baby.
But yeah, so this is kind of the end, and the very last page indicates that we're working our way towards the new upcoming Dark Phoenix. Do you have any hope for Dark Phoenix after saying this?
I don't. No.
Why do I keep coming back to this comic book? Because like the first 8 issues or 9 issues were good. I keep coming back hoping that Jason Aaron's got it back, and every time I come back, he's lost it even more than he had before.
Yeah, I think that he's got. See, what they do is they kind of bait you in with the hope for a good story, and then they hit you with the ideology. Then they hit you with the crap. And
then they hit you with the fucking tie-ins, and then they hit you with the creator change as far as the artist.
Yeah, and you end up 5-6 issues into a book, and then by the 7th or 8th issue, you're just like, well, it's gone. No wonder
same thing happened with Conan. I love Conan. Conan's like one of my favorite fictional characters in anything. We're talking movies, books, comic books.
You named your kid after him.
That's true. I did name my kid after a character in Conan. So I'm reading Jason Aaron's Conan comic when it first came out, and like the first 6 issues are pretty good.
Yep.
And then it went nowhere and it just died. It's like, I don't think Jason Aaron has more than like 6 months worth of story in him anymore. Then he just runs out of ideas and puts crap on paper.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. He has a kind of an outline of what he wants to do, and then he runs out of gas, and then
he's like, fuck me, we went past 6 issues. I ran out of ideas.
Yeah, it's like
everything's at Marvel's a limited series.
You know what made critics and fans really like Thor: God of Thunder series came out a while back is because he actually wrote about a dozen good comics in that series. But the problem is the series ran for a lot more than that.
Like 8
so
years.
It went to shit. And
by the time he was done, he completely destroyed Thor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's unfortunately the way that a lot of writers work these days, and people
Marvel,
lose interest,
and
then they have to relaunch.
Aaron have more than a limited series, 4 to 6 issues, and get him somewhere else.
Yep, yeah, and it's true, and that's why they relaunch all the time, because the idea just doesn't last more than a handful of issues. Sad.
Yeah. Pretty disappointing. This is a bad comic. Not nearly as bad as the stuff we actually talked about last week, and not as bad as Legion of Superheroes. But
no,
like I said, I don't want everything to be Bendis. But if that's what the people want, let me know in the comment section. If you want This Week in Bendis, and every time there's a fucking Bendis comic, Pele and I to review it, we'll do it.
To be honest, frankly, a Kidney Stone is not as bad as a Bendis comic. So that's just the way it is.
If you want to hear Pele passing a verbal kidney stone because he had to read a visual kidney stone, let us know. Now, Pele, we have been talking a little bit. I know this is going to be a tiny update kind of on some of the weird things happening in the marketplace, like maybe some market manipulations as far as key comic issues, prices kind of spiking. You had a short update you wanted to give the peoples?
I've had a few conversations with investors lately. I've had some several weeks ago, but this last week I had a couple others, and then I saw a Morgan Stanley, because I have worked with Morgan Stanley on a couple of occasions, and I was talking to one of the investment directors as far as other properties is concerned, non stocks and bonds, like collectibles and things of that nature. And here's one of the problems that we're seeing in the collector's market right now is that, one, there's inflation and the dollar's inflating, and some of the prices that we're seeing are just due to inflation. There's all the Trump bucks that went out in the economy, and that's going to cause the value of money to drop. And that's just the way it happens. But what we're seeing is that these investors are looking for, these untraceable, assets that they can, they can hold on to, to store money, store a little bit of wealth into. And these particular investors and particular fund managers see comics as being extremely undervalued for their rarity, for their scarcity. And I heard one of them talking that particular big keys, Giant Size X-Men #1, Hulk #181, Fantastic Four #1 through 10, all these big books like that they are, I quote, 4 to 5 times undervalued. So what we're seeing is that they are pumping up the market, and they're buying these books at ever increasing prices and putting them on, and putting a small amount on the market just to kind of inflate and pump up the value even further. So trying to reach a target that they want. And the problem is collectors are not wealthy. The people that are in the collectors market are, they've known each other for dozens of years. These are people that are into comics because they love comics, not because they love profits. And profit's good. If you can double your money on a comic holding it for 5 or 6 years, hey, that's great. You did a good job. Fantastic. But we're not seeing just mere doubling, and we're not seeing the targets yet that they want to reach. And unfortunately, for a lot of collectors, over the next few years, probably, maybe a year until they get tired of it, we're going to see these prices continue to trend upwards, and until the investors get tired and they leave the market. So the collectors are going to dip out. They're not going to, they're not going to want to pay. They're not going to pay the huge inflation prices that the I'm sorry, I can't speak today. The collectors are not going to pay the hugely inflated prices that we're seeing right now, and what's going to be coming down the pipe. So duck out, take a break.
And if people have a question about a comic and a price that they're looking at, can they DM you, or can they shout you out on Twitter and ask you?
Shout at me on Twitter. Yeah, shout at me on Twitter, because a lot of these big keys, and it's not affecting the entire market. It's affecting the comics that these particular investors believe are,
they're targeting
blue chip keys, and because we're seeing them go through the roof, and other comics just kind of staying steady or even trending downward a little bit. So there's manipulation going on, and just take a break, step back. These prices are not going to be forever. We're going to see retracement on this, so just take a break from it and let them kind of do their thing and swap money with each other. And then when they get tired, they'll punt the football, and we'll be able to get back to collecting comics again. But I've got a larger report that I'm going to be doing on this in the future, and with analysis and everything of how much, what we're seeing as far as, percentages and stuff. But I just comfortably tell people, if there's a comic that you've really, really wanted, and you're seeing it starting to spiral out of your reach, don't worry. Don't panic. Be patient, and it's going to come back. It's going to come back, and you're going to be able to get an opportunity down the road. So just relax.
So have a little bit of patience. All right, Paley, thank you so much for joining me today. We had a nice time roasting Avengers 36, and also a little bit of update on the market corrections that are happening or market inflation that's happening. Really appreciate the time, and I will talk to you later, my friend.
Okay, man. Take care.